I've worked it out. I have discovered the real reason why Meghan Markle made that totally bizarre Instagram post overnight. It's because she wants to overshadow her own husband.
He's been listed as a sports personality in
God.
Time magazine, you know?
Just hours after Prince Harry received rare positive headlines for being named among Time's 100 most influential people in sport, Meghan Markle made headlines of her own. The Duchess of Sussex unexpectedly flooded Instagram with a series of personal photographs that immediately sparked controversy online.
With new pictures of her sort of lying with her face covered, weird shots of the garden, of course, Harry and a very odd looking Archie with a football ball. Oh yeah, that's her. We're going to get to the outfit, don't worry. And the chopping of the onions and the dirty t-shirt. But I think what's important is first to tell you why. Why did we get these totally bizarre images that Meghan Markle is calling springing into summer?
The post featured intimate moments with Prince Harry, never-before-seen family snapshots, unusual lifestyle content, and a kitchen clip that critics quickly dissected frame by frame. But it wasn't necessarily the images themselves that caught people's attention. It was the timing. Because Meghan's social media return arrived at the exact same moment Prince Harry was promoting the Invictus Games through a major Time interview focused entirely on his work.
She cannot cope with the fact that for once, Prince Harry had received a good day of publicity, being named unbelievably as one of the top 100 influential people in sport by Time magazine. Meghan couldn't cope with it because she wasn't mentioned at all, so that's when the big photo drop came.
Meghan wasn't mentioned. For once, the spotlight appeared to belong solely to Harry. Then, almost overnight, the conversation changed. Questions began swirling over why Meghan had chosen to share an apparently old photograph with Harry. Others wondered why family images were suddenly being released after years of insisting on privacy.
But for her to be competing against Harry, she's always been after Harry's attention. That's why she hangs on to him like a limpet, why she attaches herself to him like a koala bear. You know, there is a constant need to touch Harry. And people at first said, oh, look, that's sweet. And then people started seeing, oh, she's actually controlling him. She's getting him to move in different directions. She's getting him to move out of the way. But also, it puts the attention back on her.
Critics debated everything from her cooking demonstrations to the carefully curated nature of the entire photo collection. At the same time, fresh reports emerged suggesting that Prince Harry was once again hoping to reconnect with members of the royal family ahead of upcoming Invictus commitments in the United Kingdom.
At the exact moment, too, where this delusional couple have made a public demand for their family to be able to see King Charles, but with the usual catch.
Coincidence? Or another carefully timed Sussex media moment? Tonight, we're breaking down the photo dump that everyone is talking about, the royal reconciliation reports raising eyebrows behind palace walls, and why this latest chapter has reignited questions about the ever-changing public image of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. For Prince Harry, it was supposed to be a rare public relations win.
We have an interview in Time magazine. This is the one that Meghan decided to take the attention away from. Hilariously, Tash. Somehow he's talked his way into being the 100 most influential people in sport. And I think he got this because he agreed to give an interview to Time magazine. And look, it's not a great interview, actually.
Time had included the Duke of Sussex on its list of the 100 most influential people in sport, recognizing his work with the Invictus Games. The accompanying interview focused heavily on Harry's passion project, his military background, and the impact Invictus has had on veterans around the world. Speaking about the Games, Harry reflected on how sport had helped shape his own life following the death of Princess Diana. He also spoke about expanding Invictus in the future, explaining that he hoped the competition would continue growing internationally and potentially evolve into a longer event.
He says that he's hoping to keep growing the Invictus Games and make it a 2-week event rather than one. That's a mistake because right now you're going to be lucky for it to go for even 1 week.
For once, the headlines weren't centered on royal feuds, legal battles, or family tensions. They were about Harry. And notably, Meghan Markle wasn't part of the story. There were no joint appearances, no quotes from the Duchess of Sussex, no references to their Montecito lifestyle brand ventures. The spotlight belonged entirely to Prince Harry.
But the key thing is no mention of his wife at all.
Then came Meghan's Instagram post. Almost overnight, her account was flooded with a carefully assembled collection of images that immediately became the focus of online discussion. The post featured candid-looking moments at home, family photographs, clips from the kitchen, and affectionate snapshots involving Harry himself. The sudden photo drop quickly shifted attention away from Time's coverage and onto Meghan's latest social media activity.
Was Meghan drunk with her latest privacy photo dump? A child's body in a dirty t-shirt? Meghan lying on the ground in wrinkled trousers? A down-the-shirt shot to her navel? What is she trying to promote? But this clip, what the hell is she trying to do? That poor onion.
Royal commentators and social media users alike began questioning the timing. Was it simply an innocent seasonal update? Or had Meghan strategically reclaimed the narrative just as Harry was enjoying a rare moment of positive press on his own? The speculation intensified because this wasn't just any Instagram post. After years of emphasizing privacy concerns, particularly when it came to family life, Meghan had shared content that offered followers an unusually personal glimpse behind the scenes.
This woman has nothing left to give. She's posting anything and everything, even if it makes her look bad. Obviously, she's doing all the PR herself, and it shows. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. Now, Meghan, just stop. You look like an idiot.
And it arrived during another significant moment for Harry. Alongside the time recognition, reports had already begun circulating about Prince Harry's hopes of reconnecting with members of the royal family ahead of future Invictus commitments in the United Kingdom. In other words, public attention was once again turning toward Harry. Then, within hours, everyone was talking about Meghan. Whether intentional or not, the effect was undeniable.
No matter who she is with, her friends, Kelly, who recently gave birth to a baby, Kelly McKee-Zafin, when she was there collecting an award at a charity that she started, Meghan draped herself over Kelly, to the point Kelly had to move her head out of the way. I remember talking to you about it. Meghan has to be the star and she has to be the center. And she does not like Harry having any attention without her. And for her, this was the best and almost desperate attempt to get attention.
The conversation had shifted. Instead of focusing on Harry's sporting recognition and his ongoing work with Invictus, headlines became dominated by Meghan's latest social media choices, the photographs she had decided to share, and the questions those images raised. And as viewers began examining the post more closely, they discovered that some of the photographs themselves would spark an entirely new wave of debate.
What's with the strange cowboy pose? Is it because you just hopped off a horse, or are you telling us that you're open for business? Are you hiding your face because you've had more work done? Why did you feel the need to unbutton your shirt so much? And what possessed you to inflict another head-to-toe demon fashion crime on all of us?
If Meghan Markle's latest Instagram post had simply featured a few polished lifestyle snapshots, it likely wouldn't have generated much discussion. Instead, nearly every image seemed to trigger a new round of questions. One of the first clips to go viral showed Meghan cooking in the kitchen, chopping onions while preparing food at home.
But first, let's look at some of this reaction, because can we just see that Meghan Markle chops onions as well as I do? And that's very, very badly.
Gilberts were one of the founding families, and back in 1864, they were among those who sought to eradicate the vampires. A compass was used to find them.
That's a woman who is responsible for a lifestyle and food brand.
On the surface, it appeared harmless enough. But critics quickly pointed out that Meghan has spent the past several years building an image centered around lifestyle content, elegant hosting, and carefully curated domesticity. As a result, even a simple cooking clip became a talking point. Social media users dissected everything from her knife skills to the setup of the kitchen itself, with some questioning whether the footage aligned with the polished image associated with her growing lifestyle ventures.
But when you're doing it to take away publicity from your own husband, there's certainly a more twisted aspect to it. That's before we even get to the to the pictures themselves, Tash.
Then there were the fashion choices. Among the images Meghan shared was a photograph of herself reclining outdoors in a wrinkled outfit, partially shielding her face from the camera. Rather than presenting the highly controlled aesthetic many have come to expect from celebrity social media accounts, the image struck some viewers as unusually candid. Others, however, were left confused.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, Meghan's narcissism really does shine on through. So, of course, that's going to affect every aspect of her life. She's going to be that way with her children. That's why Meghan spends thousands and thousands and thousands on herself, her hair, her makeup. You know, this is a woman that, well, she obviously spends a lot of money. She does have terrible fashion choices. But then she allows her children to be presented to the world wearing their pajamas, wearing dirty t shirts and stuff.
What exactly was the message behind the post? Was it meant to showcase authenticity, a relaxed summer mood, or was it simply another example of Meghan moving away from the carefully polished public image she had previously cultivated? But perhaps the most discussed photograph involved Prince Harry. The image showed the couple embracing during what appeared to be an intimate moment, yet eagle-eyed observers noticed something unusual.
And then we come to the picture with Harry. And let's take a look at this because it's intriguing, isn't it? Was this a new picture? Are things back on track? Or is the photo stamp suggesting this was taken in 2017 correct? If so, why on earth are you sharing this with a summer photo dump for 2026? Harry, Meghan's spare, argued, scraping the bottom of the barrel with yet another ancient photo. We get it, Meg, you're separated.
Reports circulated suggesting that metadata associated with the image indicated it may have been taken years earlier. If true, it raised an obvious question. Why include an older photograph in a post seemingly intended to capture recent family moments and the transition from spring into summer?
Do we think it is an old picture with Harry?
Yeah.
Is it from 26? So why on earth do you put it in a summer dump for 2026? That's not even how Instagram works. I mean, it's not like a throwback.
No, I think it's more like an ownership. He's still mine. It's very much, I don't think Harry is quite so happy to pose for photos
We were
like
happy
that
once.
anymore.
Some interpreted it as a sweet tribute to their relationship. Others viewed it differently, suggesting the photo's inclusion could have been intended to reinforce a united front amid ongoing speculation surrounding the Sussexes' marriage. Regardless of the interpretation, the image became another source of debate.
At the top of that photo, not only does it say 2017, it actually says that she's got another 30,000 odd in the bank. Oh, Dan, have we got to go through another 30,000 of these drunken drops? I mean, I don't know if she was drunk, but the images that she chose were just so bizarre.
The same was true for several photographs involving the couple's children. For years, Harry and Meghan have repeatedly spoken about protecting their children's privacy. The Duke of Sussex has openly discussed concerns about media intrusion, while both parents have carefully limited public appearances involving Archie and Lilibet. That history made the latest photo collection particularly noteworthy.
But there has been a huge amount of reaction specifically to the photo of Lily, because if this really is a girl who is cared for so well, then why on earth has her mother decided to put her in a dirty t-shirt on the internet to try and get publicity?
While the children's faces remained largely protected, the decision to include family moments at all prompted fresh discussions online about where the couple now draws the line between privacy and public engagement. Some commentators argued that the images reflected a natural desire to share joyful family experiences. Others questioned whether increasingly personal content represented a shift in strategy as Meghan continues expanding her public profile through social media.
Harry had been snubbed from the Football World Cup because of the row with David Beckham. Just saying, maybe a total coincidence, but certainly there seems to be an attempt to kind of take ownership of football as well, even though we're hearing he hasn't really been invited, certainly at this stage, to any of the big FIFA events.
Then came another image that fueled even more speculation. A photograph showing Harry alongside Archie in a football attracted attention from royal watchers who noted the timing of its release. The image appeared shortly after renewed discussions surrounding Harry's public role in major sporting events and his recent recognition by Time magazine. Although there is no evidence connecting the two developments, the coincidence was enough to spark widespread conversation online. By this point, the reaction had become impossible to ignore.
So much weirdness going on. But I immediately, well, not immediately actually, I had to speak to some people, but pretty quickly it became clear that the timing of this post was because Time magazine had just dropped their big interview with Harry and she wasn't part of it. It was as if she didn't exist. And so what does she do? Somehow get together a whole load of photos that she knew was going to steal the attention away. It's the flood the zone strategy.
What may have begun as a seasonal Instagram update had transformed into something much bigger. Every photograph seemed to generate its own headlines. Every detail was scrutinized. Every choice was analyzed. And as debate surrounding Meghan's photo dump intensified, another Sussex-related story was quietly gaining momentum behind the scenes. Because while the internet was busy discussing onions, old photographs, and family snapshots, new reports were emerging suggesting that Prince Harry might once again be looking toward the royal family he left behind.
Then we come to the article which I think Harry wanted people to take note of, and I'm not actually talking about the Time magazine, but rather this leak to the New York Post. And again, that's why I think Meghan's Instagram dump was so badly timed, unless she was actually trying to piss all over her husband. Because this is another public attempt, Tash, at negotiation with the British royal family via the media.
As attention remained fixed on Meghan Markle's Instagram activity, another Sussex story was unfolding behind the scenes, and this one had the potential to reopen old royal wounds. According to reports published by Page 6, Prince Harry is once again hoping to repair his fractured relationship with members of the royal family. The report suggested that Harry would like to bring Meghan Markle, Prince Archie, and Princess Lilibet to the United Kingdom in connection with upcoming Invictus Games events.
So, Nathan writes, Prince Harry hopes to bring Meghan Markle and kids to the UK in weeks, but still won't see one family member, his estranged brother, Prince William, sources told Page 6. Harry is set to arrive in July to promote his Invictus Games, which will be held in Birmingham next year, and he desperately wants to bring his family over to see his father, King Charles.
More significantly, sources claim that he hopes an opportunity could arise to spend time with King Charles. It is a storyline that has surfaced repeatedly over the past several years. Since stepping down as senior working royals in 2020, Harry and Meghan have publicly discussed their grievances with the institution through television interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and Harry's memoir, Spare.
Because this was a coded article, but in my view, it's yet another public threat to King Charles.
Those revelations dramatically altered Harry's relationship with several members of his family, particularly Prince William. And according to recent reports, little has changed. While King Charles has occasionally been described as open to some form of reconciliation, Prince William is widely believed to remain deeply hurt by the public disclosures made by his younger brother.
So, of course, the royals are never going to trust him, and as rightly so, because it's clearly obvious that Harry is getting more desperate.
The two princes have reportedly not spent meaningful time together since Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in September 2022. That ongoing distance has only fueled speculation whenever stories about reconciliation emerge. The timing of these latest reports was especially notable. Prince Harry is expected to participate in events connected to the 2027 Invictus Games, which are scheduled to take place in Birmingham.
And the royals have just had enough of them. They have cut them off. So Harry is trying all different tactics. And as I said, I stand by what I said. I think this is because he knows the Invictus Games is coming up. He needs a little bit of royal glitter, whether it's in the form of his auntie, the Princess Royal, whether it's in the form of lesser members of the royal family. He needs the royals there to get the Invictus that little bit of a boost, because I believe he uses it as his final cash cow.
As preparations intensify, questions naturally follow about whether Harry's return to Britain could also create an opportunity for personal healing within the royal family. But reconciliation has never been straightforward. One of the biggest obstacles remains trust. Royal commentators have frequently argued that repeated public discussions about private family matters have made senior royals increasingly cautious about reopening communication.
He's just never going to learn. It's like publicly trying to jump the British government, which ironically is pretty sympathetic to Prince Harry, and his father, ironically pretty sympathetic to Prince Harry, into a deal ain't going to work. And what I take away from that is that Harry's calls are still not being returned, Charles is still playing hard to get, and Harry is basically begging. It's sad, but it's a situation he created.
Every interview, every documentary, every headline, each new revelation has complicated the possibility of rebuilding relationships behind closed doors. At the same time, reports also indicated that Harry continues to face concerns surrounding security arrangements in the United Kingdom. The Duke of Sussex has been engaged in an ongoing legal battle regarding the level of protection available to him and his family while visiting Britain.
and the royals are done playing these games. But Harry only has himself to blame because he will not stop going to the media himself, which in itself is just absolutely hypocritical.
Sources suggested that these issues would need to be addressed before any firm plans involving Meghan and the children could move forward. Then there was another detail that caught royal watchers' attention. Around the same period, members of the royal family gathered publicly for family celebrations, events that Harry did not attend. Although there has been significant speculation surrounding the reasons behind his absence from certain occasions, the broader picture remained unchanged.
Wedding, we had all of the stories about Harry and Meghan might go, then that was shut down. Harry and Meghan were not invited. Oh, but Harry and Meghan skipped the wedding. No, they didn't skip it. They were not invited. Then you had, well, Harry wouldn't go anyway because he's upset about something that happened at Peter's first wedding. You must have seen all of this. It was just constantly trying to make this wedding about Harry and Meghan. And then we get Peter's called Harry. Then we get Harry understands that Peter has to cut him out because of evil Prince William, because Prince William's a bully.
Harry continues to exist largely outside the royal fold. The contrast could not have been more striking. On one side stood the working royals, carrying out official duties and appearing together at family milestones. On the other stood Prince Harry in California, speaking openly about reconciliation while navigating the consequences of choices that reshaped the monarchy's modern history. Whether these latest reports represent a genuine desire for healing or simply another chapter in a long-running royal saga remains unclear. What is clear, however, is that reconciliation cannot happen through headlines alone.
So all of the time this is going on, it's very clearly obvious. Now, some of it is made up, but some of it is definitely coming from Harry's camp, and it's always making him to be a victim and Prince William to be the aggressor.
Because while Prince Harry may hope to rebuild bridges, repairing relationships damaged by years of public conflict is rarely simple. And for many royal observers, one question still lingers. If reconciliation truly is the goal, why does every new development seem to play out in full view of the world?
Harry has now decided he wants his family back and has regrets. Sorry, I call bullshit. More likely he's getting desperate as his emotional blackmail using his children hasn't worked and daddy still isn't picking up the calls.
At the center of Prince Harry's latest wave of positive publicity was the project he has often described as his proudest achievement, the Invictus Games. Founded in 2014, the international sporting event was created to support wounded, injured, and sick servicemen and women through the power of competition, rehabilitation, and community.
He's talking about Invictus, and he says, it was so clear to me, let's invite as many countries as possible to make it international because clearly more countries need to benefit from this. He said that sport held him together.
Over the years, the Games have been widely praised for highlighting the resilience of veterans and providing participants with a renewed sense of purpose. It is also the cause most closely associated with Prince Harry's public identity. In his recent Time interview, Harry spoke passionately about Invictus and the impact it has had on those involved. He described hearing from participants who credited the Games with changing, and in some cases even saving, their lives.
I had someone contact me to do with the Invictus Games a while back, and obviously I don't know about the credibility of this, but it's a very interesting point. And they said that they contacted the Invictus Game to ask for help because they were struggling with a living situation, and the Invictus Foundation gave them a list of numbers of other charities to go to. So outside of actually playing the sports in the events, with Harry continuously talking about the mental health support and the anti-suicide prevention and everything else that the Invictus Games does, there is a potential there that they're just handing out numbers for other accredited agencies and companies.
For Harry, these moments represent the true purpose of Invictus, and few would dispute the significance of the mission itself. However, alongside the praise, questions about the future direction of the organization have increasingly emerged. Some critics have argued that public attention surrounding the Games has shifted away from the veterans and toward the Sussexes themselves. Particularly in recent years, media coverage of Invictus events has frequently focused on Meghan Markle's appearances, fashion choices, and the couple's broader celebrity status. As a result, debate has grown over whether the athletes are receiving the spotlight they deserve.
People do not trust the fact that Harry gets a job at Better Up and then Better Up come on board at the Invictus Games. People believe that Harry has financially benefited from that. And again, the waters are getting very muddied with every trip that they do when they go abroad. You know, we've had Colombia, we've had Australia, we've had Nigeria, and it all seems to center around the Invictus Games features there, and Ukraine as well.
Others have raised concerns about declining public enthusiasm and ongoing discussions surrounding sponsorship and participation. While Invictus continues to attract competitors from around the world, commentators have questioned whether the event faces new challenges as it enters its second decade. The Games were originally celebrated as a powerful example of service beyond royal duty. Today, some observers believe the organization must work harder to ensure that mission remains front and center. Prince Harry himself has remained unwavering in his support. Time and again, he has described Invictus as one of the most meaningful aspects of his post-military life.
I've reported on the Invictus Games as well about the fact that people are walking away from it. Veterans are walking away from it. Sponsorships are walking away from it. And it's hardly surprising, really.
It is also one of the few areas where he continues to receive widespread recognition independent of his royal title, which perhaps explains why the timing of recent events generated so much discussion. Just as Harry was being recognized by Time for his contribution to sport, just as attention had shifted toward his work with veterans, the headlines once again moved elsewhere, back to social media, back to family drama, back to speculation surrounding the Sussexes, and that may be what makes this entire situation so fascinating. Because regardless of where public opinion falls, one thing remains true. The Invictus Games were never meant to be about royal disputes. They were never meant to be about Instagram posts. They were never meant to become another battleground in the ongoing saga surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
The odd similarities between Meghan Markle's As Ever and Danya Guta's Little Olives. So weird, isn't it? Anyway.
It is weird.
On its own, Meghan Markle posting a collection of summer photographs wouldn't normally become international news. Celebrity social media updates happen every day. Family snapshots are shared constantly. Even public figures attempting to appear more relatable online is hardly unusual. But this situation was different, because it wasn't just about the photographs. It was about everything happening around them. Within the span of just a few days, Prince Harry had found himself at the center of a surprisingly positive news cycle.
They have now removed the dress from the Little Olive site.
He had been recognized by Time for his work in sport, spoken publicly about the impact of the Invictus Games, and found his charitable efforts receiving attention independent of royal controversy. At the same time, fresh reports suggested he remained hopeful about repairing relationships within the royal family ahead of future visits to the United Kingdom. Then came Meghan's Instagram post. Suddenly, the conversation shifted. The headlines changed. Instead of discussions about Invictus and reconciliation, public attention turned toward cooking clips, old photographs, family images, and the meaning behind Meghan's latest social media choices. Whether intentional or entirely coincidental is something only Meghan herself could answer. But in the age of celebrity branding, timing is rarely ignored. Every post is analyzed. Every image is scrutinized. Every decision becomes part of a larger narrative. And few public figures understand the power of controlling that narrative better than the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Paula says it's not known if either image was created by AI, and she notes Markle claims the pic of Lily is not, if the child on the right is a model who just happens to be Lily's doppelganger, or if Lily has done some modelling. But why, she asks, was the picture page of the buttercream bloom dress removed?
Since stepping away from royal life, Harry and Meghan have carefully shaped their own story through interviews, documentaries, public appearances, podcasts, books, and increasingly, social media. Supporters argue that they are simply reclaiming ownership of their lives after years of intense media intrusion. Critics, meanwhile, believe that the couple often contribute to the very public fascination they claim to resent. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. But one thing is undeniable. Nearly 6 years after leaving royal duties behind, Harry and Meghan remain two of the most talked about figures in the world. A single Instagram post can dominate headlines. A family photograph can spark international debate. An interview about veterans can quickly become overshadowed by speculation about marriage, reconciliation, and royal tensions. Perhaps that's the real story here. Not the onions, not the wrinkled trousers, not even the mysterious photograph with Prince Harry, but the fact that everything the Sussexes do continues to be viewed through the lens of a much bigger question. Are they trying to move on from royal life, or are they still defining themselves by it? And as preparations for the next Invictus Games continue, While speculation surrounding Harry's relationship with his family refuses to disappear, it seems increasingly clear that the Sussex saga is far from over. Because in the world of royal drama, timing isn't just important. Sometimes timing is the entire story. So, what do you think? Was Meghan Markle's latest Instagram post simply an innocent collection of family moments shared with followers as summer approaches? Or was the timing just a little too perfect? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest royal updates and breaking developments every single day here on Crown Clash. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.